right? So next topic is third normal form. So for a relation to be in third normal form, it must be in second normal form, and it should satisfy the following requirements. So the first requirement is that no non-prime attribute is transitively dependent on prime key attribute, right? So no non-prime attribute is transitively dependent on the prime key attribute. And for any non-trivial functional dependency such that X determines A holds, then either X is a super key or X is a prime attribute, right? So third normal form, it emphasizes on no transitive dependency between the attributes in a relation, right? So let me show you an example for a example to check whether there exists transitive dependency in a relation, right? So for example, you have some student detail relation. It's quite simple, right? A student detail relation, it contains the attributes student ID, student name, city, zip code, like our pin code, they have zip code. So we find that the above student detail relation, student ID is a key and only prime key attribute, right? So student ID is the prime key attribute, and by student ID you will be able to determine all the other attributes in the relation. So it's called as a prime key attribute. So we find that city can be identified by student ID as well as zip itself, right? So using the zip code, you'll be able to identify the location or city, and similarly using the student ID, you will be able to identify the city of the student, right? So here neither zip code is a super key nor city is a prime attribute. So there exists a transitive dependency between the non-prime attributes in a relation, right? So the transitive dependency is like student ID determines zip code, determines the city. So there exists some transitive dependency between the attributes in a relation, and this should not happen in the case of in the case of third normal form. So it emphasizes on there should not be any transitive dependency between the non-prime attributes in a relation. So you are going to decompose this relation into two fragments: student details with the attributes student ID, student name, and zip code. Zip code relation with the attribute zip code and city. So now we say that these two relations, they meet the requirements of 3NF, third normal form. So there exists no transitive dependency between the attributes in a relation, right? So this is the definition for third normal form, right? So in third normal form, whenever you say check for a relation is in a third normal form, it should meet the requirements of second normal form. Similarly, when you say relation is second normal form, it should meet the requirements of first normal form, right? So a relation is said to be in a third normal form if it has met the requirements of second normal form, and it must satisfy the following conditions, right? So no non-prime attribute is transitively dependent on the prime attribute, and for any non-trivial functional dependency to hold good, X determines A, then X is a primary key, X is a super key, or A is a prime attribute, right? So initially in the student detail relation, there exists some transitive dependency between the attributes in a relation: student ID, student name, zip code, city. So the location or the city of the student can be determined by student ID as well as by the zip code. So it should not happen since there exists a transitive dependency between the attributes in a relation. So you are going to break this relation into two fragments containing student details and the zip code of the city, and finally once you break the relation into two relations, we say that it meets the requirements of third normal form.